What's up, everybody? Mr. Random, representing Soulbotics crew out of Denver, Colorado. Rocking Soulbot clothing. New line just dropped by Poppin here in Denver, Colorado at Soulfully Driven Studios. Again, appreciate you guys supporting the site. I'm going to be breaking down a little bit of ground moves, kind of intro to ground moves today. The thing about ground moves that I like everybody to know, or anytime that I talk to anybody about them, is they are similar to a power move for a b-boy. Essentially what it is a good way for you to throw a dynamic, quick movement into your dance, and it also adds that dimension of you changing your level. You're going from high to low, back up to high again. In a lot of popping moves, you can stay on the ground, or you can lunge right back up, and essentially it has that dynamic of contrast there. So I'm going to be breaking down some kind of basic shoot downs and a couple of ground moves that I personally do in my vocab, and hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so one thing I want everybody to remember, anytime you're doing any kind of ground moves, it's really important that at first you start to protect your knees. I mean, throughout your dance, you want to make sure that your knees are always being protected. After a while, you start to build up somewhat of a tolerance to it, but for sure, when you first start, make sure you're always wearing a pair of knee pads, or that you're starting at least on carpet, something soft. It's not too bad or too much strain on your knees. So that's just one. Alright, so the good thing about these knee pads is they can go right under your clothes. You can't tell you're wearing them. They're pretty comfortable. You can stop all your mobility. Every now and again, I might even drop it to my ankle. And then right before I'm about to do maybe a set of ground moves, I'll pull it up so that way it's protected. Just depends. After a while, you start to get used to having it. So first things first is going to be any kind of shoot down. All right. Now your basic shoot downs a lot of times derive from a lot of boogaloo rolls. So anytime you're doing some kind of roll, whether you're coming down, you're dropping your level, this comes down, this is a basic shoot down right here. You got enough mobility to go left, to go right, or to go front, back obviously. And essentially you can pretty much create any ground move from this position right here. This is kind of like your base. Like a b-boy has a 6-step to here, this is basically that spot for a popper when they're doing their ground moves. One thing that I always like to start with are like two basic positions. I believe this one, I'm not 100% on this, was made by Poppin, but they call it the ET, which essentially, the way to get into this position, there's a bunch of ways to do it. The one for me is you can either rotate your weight this way. So this right leg, or if you like to rotate with your left leg, that's fine. It's basically going to go in front of your other knee. Okay? So if you take your weight, you throw it in front of your knee, this leg's going to come up and you're going to be in this position. Okay? As you're in this position, you continue to rotate your weight this way, and this knee's going to drop. Boom. You're right here in this position. Now from this, they do a lot of moves, or they do a lot of moves, this kind of thing. But just one more time, just to show you guys. Again, so from this position, you take this right leg, or better yet, we'll try left leg in case you guys are lefties out there. We go here, this leg comes up, comes right up, wrap around, just like that, okay? So another way to get into the same position is from that, again, that position here, you lift up this back leg, and you slide the other one under it, and you just push, okay? Same position. There's a million ways you can think to get out of it. The easiest one is going to be to take whatever leg that is behind this foot in front of you here, extend it all the way back, and your leg's going to slide out from under it, okay? You can come up and basically go into other ground positions like that. So, in a more sped up manner, again, you take your weight, throw it whichever way you prefer. So you go this, let's say I'm going to go this way, take my weight this way, boom, okay? And again, if I'm going to get out of that, I take this back leg, which would be my right leg, I extend that back, my other one swings around it, I'm back to this position here, okay? So again, it takes a little bit of practice. Another thing, a tip that you want to keep in mind, when you do that rotation, throw your weight back. Otherwise, if you do this, and your weight's going forward, you're going to end up on your hands here. If you put your weight back, you'll stay in this position. That way you can basically finesse however you want to on this position, okay? Another one that you're going to do is, I call them wraps. I don't know if that's the correct term for them. But essentially you start in this position again. You take your right or your left leg, whichever one you're going to do, rather than going in front of your knee, you're going to go behind it. So you wrap behind, and you're in this position here. So I'll go front so you guys can see it. So I have one leg that's bent, essentially going forward, down. on the back, basically on the left side of your knee. If it's on your left leg, it's going to be on the left side of your knee. If it's on your right leg, it's going to be on the right side of your knee. So you're basically in this position here. You can sit down if you want, whatever's comfortable. And the better you get at this, the farther you can spread apart your legs. But when you start off, your legs are going to be fairly close together. So you're in this position. A lot of people like to either continuously go, do another rap, or you can just do a pickup from this. So the way that you would do a pickup, it's kind of similar to a boogaloo roll. You actually throw your weight up. So your hips are going to come up. You're going to go the leg that's on closest to the floor here, and then the next leg is going to come up. Now obviously I'm using my hand just to show you guys kind of a slower idea of it. But basically if you're going to do this in a fast motion, you use your hips, your weight, you come up just like that. Okay? So again, if we're doing that same move from here, so you can start even like this if that's easier. You go down, right leg's going to wrap around, boom, okay? Then you basically will at that point start your pickup. So pickup up there. At first, I use my hands a lot at first just to get the hang of it. So it's not bad to put your hands on the ground just to catch your balance. It's a lot better than looking like you're about to fall over. So put your hands on the ground for maybe a quick second. Now in terms of shoot downs, to get into your ground moves, again, there's a couple different ones. Like we talked about this first one just to get in that basic position here. There's one that they call broken leg shoot down, which you'll see, this is the one that I do a lot. Basically you start with your weight pretty low to the ground. It looks really painful, but again, if you're wearing knee pads, it doesn't hurt at all. Basically all you're doing is you're bending either this leg going, putting your weight on the left side, so if it's your left leg again, you're going to put it going towards your left. If it's your right leg, you're going to put your weight going towards your right. And you're basically going to fold your knee down, boom, and you're on the ground. Alright? There's a lot of people, including myself, that do a move. They go all the way down, they wrap it all the way back up, and basically come back up just like that. So it's a pretty cool little trick if you know how to do that. One thing that I always like to let everybody know is you want to practice ground moves on both sides. So you want to be able to do a pickup going this way, same as you can going this way. So make sure that you try the rotation on both sides anytime that you're doing any kind of ground move. Now here's the one that I was going to say, I'll show you guys that I do. That's one that you'll see in a couple of my battle videos and stuff like that. I don't really have a name for it. I just say it looks like my floating cookie spin, whatever. Basically this leg comes down, just like normal ground move. Here's the trick to it though. I take this leg and with as much force as I can put around it, I basically just wail this right leg around me. There's not really a science to it. The trick to it is though, is to get down on your hip, here, as you're starting to wrap your leg around. So you go here, you wrap your leg around, boom. That's what causes that spin. That momentum there is what's going to cause you to get around as far as you can. The thing about it is the more you practice it, the harder your spin will get, and then that's basically how you're able to pick up and get out of that way. So take that idea, flip that concept, turn it to your own, whether it's a consistent spin, whether it's a spin into something else, and come up with your own ground moves and variations from it. I started b-boying first, so a lot of times recently I've been using a lot of b-boy movements in my ground moves. So for example, another one I have, I'll start actually a little bit of an abstract position for ground moves. I start pretty much like this. So I'll do maybe a half a six step, wrap around, boom, this sets me up for this, and then I do my pickup. But the trick to it is obviously you're adding that six step to it, so you can use that to hit beats or however you want to do it. But that gives you that option of other styles and other ground moves that you can add into it. Another one, a lot of b-boys do cradles. So I'll hold my weight up, cradle through, thread my legs through, and do a pickup that way. So just a couple of ideas to kind of open your brains up so you guys can start using those different ideas and coming up with a lot of So a couple things, just going back to the pickups of the ground move. Now, it's going to be a little harder to explain this when I'm moving slower because the idea behind a lot of ground moves is you're actually using the momentum of your swing to pick yourself up. So when I'm going down and I spin around slower, that kills my momentum, so it's a little harder for me to do a pickup that easy. But if you do it in full speed, that'll actually make it easier for you. So sometimes you have to just kind of commit to the move and just go for it. But with this one, basically you come around, you wrap, all right, and basically it picks up with all your weight. With me, when I do a pickup, I go right, left, or excuse me, left, right. So basically this leg that's bent closest to my body goes there, and then I pick this one up. Okay? So if I go here, wrap around, boom, boom. So it goes left, right. In terms of this broken leg shoot, if you're gonna do this one, it's the same concept. Essentially, these two wraps are the same. If you're doing a broken leg shoot and you're straight down, you see a lot of people when they do this move, and they come up. The idea behind that one is that rather than using this momentum that you're wrapping around, you're using the momentum of you actually coming off the ground for a second. So you're using this momentum, basically. When you come up, you're using that momentum. It's from a different position. So rather than, you're basically using your hands rather than using the wrap of your legs around. So a couple things to keep in mind. I mean, don't just limit yourself to doing this and then a pickup. The thing about that is you can keep going around. So you go one and then come up. So you don't necessarily have to do just the one pickup and then, or the one swing around and then pick up from that. Again, the momentum is what's going to help you go up. The thing about that though is if you get too much momentum, you're going to end up doing something like this and coming up too fast. So that's basically when I say you have to use your hips, you use that to basically stop yourself from overdoing it to a point where you're basically swinging too far around. So again, just to kind of recap, so we have our broken leg shoot, all right? We have our ET. Again, your weight goes around the front of your knee rather than behind it, all right? And if you're doing a wrap, it goes down, your leg goes behind your knee, and then essentially that's where you do the pickup. You're gonna use the momentum of the swing, again, to pick yourself up. And like I said, for me, it goes left, right. Because I'm usually on this is the leg that's usually on the ground for me the most. So it's gonna go left leg comes up, right leg comes up. So now you guys got the idea of it. I'm just gonna do a couple of quick ground moves so you guys can kind of see the pickups, how you use the momentum, and just gotta get an idea of what you can do with them. So am I just doing whatever now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, the ET. Wraps. So we got that one. So you can combine the two. We have the spin. Comes up that way. And we have basically the broken leg shoot move. Come down. Use your momentum to swing yourself back up again. Here. We have the B-boy one. There. It looks pretty tripped out if you come up slower. So with me, sometimes I'll kind of go into like a slower pickup. I don't just rush and try and stand up right away. I'll slowly kind of pick myself up, and that'll kind of help you get that effect. Plus, you can time it with the music a little bit better. So if you're coming up slower, you wait for the clap, clap, and you can hit. We had the other one that I showed you, which was the cradle. Basically, this one is more about the weight on your hands at first to get this around. Anybody has any b-boy experience can show you that. But once you get to here, it's basically the same pickup. Left, right, basically lunges your body up. So that's all. Hit us up with any questions. Again, Soulbot Clothing. Thanks for supporting the site. Soulbot Clothing, Soulbotics Crew, all day, every day. LearnToBus.com. Thank you.